I'm Jack Twist.
And I'm His Royal Highness Prince Charles.
No, we're only joking. I'm Jack Knave.
And I'm Charlie Darling.
And this is
Versatile Views, the podcast where we give you top tier takes
and bottomless banter.
How are you doing this week, Jack?
Fabulous. But I have realised I've just forgotten my tops. Well, I didn't come up with tops and bottoms, but I'm about to. So I think you're going to have to go first.
Well, before we launch into my tops and bottoms, shall we just quickly introduce the topic of today's episode?
I think we should. Well, my name might have been a bit more obvious, but Jack Twist, main character of Brokeback Mountain.
And I was making a reference to a film, Red, White and Royal Blue.
So this episode is mainly focused on representation in media, specifically queer representation in media.
And even more specifically, gay representation.
And I think we can safely say Brokeback Mountain and Red, White and Royal Blue are pretty gay.
Yep.
And we're going to use them as a jumping off point.
We want to talk about how important it is to have LGBTQ plus representation in films and how important it is that the actors themselves are gay or queer.
Yeah, it makes for a pretty interesting discussion. I don't think there's any right answers as of yet.
But you can rely on some top tier takes at the very least.
And hopefully some bottomless banter. We'll be cackling. But before we cackle, I need to hear tops and bottoms.
My top of the week was being reunited with a very good friend of mine who was visiting London from Vietnam.
Oh, very nice. Community all over the place.
I've got friends in many places. And it was wonderful to catch up. There were many drinks drunketh.
Oh my.
A lot of food eaten. And we even had a dance. It was a fabulous Saturday. And one Jack Knave even put in an appearance.
Yeah, I might have done a special guest spot on the dance floor.
So yeah, great to catch up with him. And then my bottom of the week. So I'm going away on a trip soon.
Much to my chagrin.
To a far-flung location. And there is so much to do before I go. And there is not enough time to do any of it. It feels like anyway. So I'm feeling the pinch in that respect.
Okay, well, that actually segues very nicely into my bottom. I don't have any time either.
Yes.
When am I going to do everything?
I don't know.
Not ever, apparently.
We're doing something now.
We're finding the time. We're making it work. We're doing it.
We can't explain how.
We can't explain how and we can't explain why because we chose to do this and we're happy we did.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's definitely my bottom. Time pressure. Not enough time for myself. Not enough time for this podcast and not enough time for the other people in my life. But I've got plenty of time for work. So there we go. Love that.
Hopefully things will even out a little bit. Maybe once I'm gone.
Fingers. Well, no, I don't want you to go. No, fingers crossed they even I. Fingers crossed you'd never leave. JK, no, you go. I've got work to do. And my top has to be kind of similar to yours as well, but in a different sort of vein. I have just been having so much fun with all of my friends lately. I think that's why I don't have any time for anything else. I was going to say,
maybe you should get to work.
I know. I've got a lot of social life happening at the moment. Social life is lifing. And my professional life is fine. But my personal, fun work life needs some attention. So, yeah, once you're gone, I'll be able to start handling that.
Yeah. It's supposed to be the summer that's a busy time, but now we're heading into autumn and the pace has not slowed.
I have to say summer felt way chiller.
Yes, actually.
Definitely not the heat, but yeah, it felt much more relaxed than this diabolical season.
I've been having such fun. So.
Yeah, me too. It's relentlessly enjoyable.
Okay.
But another thing that's going to be relentlessly enjoyable
is listening to us talk about these films.
Very good.
This is a debate that queer people love to have. How important it is to have representation of people like us in our TV shows and films and productions and music. We live in a fortunate time where there's actually a lot of representation.
But can there ever truly be enough?
Good question. We definitely grew up in a time where there was scant representation. So why is it important to have representation, do you think?
For me, I think it's important to have full representation of the community in all shapes and forms in all media, because I think it helps to dispel any myth that starts to be formed around us. So, for example, you had back in the day, all gay men were considered to be pedophiles. And the minute you put their stories into the front, you see that's not actually true. The same thing for trans people, the same thing for, dare I say, it's a race issue as well. When you don't represent a race accurately in media, you end up perpetuating a myth, and usually it's negative.
That's the thing. We are a minority. So by definition, there are fewer of us than the majority. So there's a lot of people out there who do not know personally a gay person, a trans person, and maybe in some parts of the UK, they don't know a black person or a person of any other ethnicity. I mean, where I grew up was like that. Very little diversity in terms of ethnicity as well as sexuality, at least outwardly. I think representation helps people in those communities feel seen, because you are not seeing anyone else who looks like you or acts like you. But maybe if there's a film, there's a TV show that you can watch, maybe it's watching it in secret in your bedroom, or maybe it's watching it in a cinema with all your friends and your family.
That has a positive and realistic perspective of what that person's life is actually like.
Yeah. And for some people, that could be the first time they come across these themes.
It might even help them realize things they didn't know or could put a name to.
Absolutely.
However, we're not going to discuss the concepts of representing race or religion or any other sort of minority in the media, because that is not our lived experience. And at the moment, we don't want to delve too far into the representation of other parts of the LGBTQIA plus community. We are gay men, cis gay men.
We're really looking forward to having those conversations in the future with some of our trans and non-binary siblings.
If they're willing.
Hopefully.
We love you.
Within this, there's another discussion we can have around good representation and perhaps not so good representation. For lots of these films and TV shows, they're casting actors who are not gay or trans or whatever.
And sometimes they're actually casting people that are against those.
Really?
Yes.
Where?
Okay, so there was a TV program called True Blood, and it was based on a book series as well.
Yeah.
And they cast someone to play the lover of one of the characters, but they were gay characters. And he was asked to leave the show because he wouldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
He said he didn't believe in it. But this is a show about vampires and fairies. It's like, okay, well, they're not real.
Yeah, so true.
But gay people are. So what do you mean you don't believe in it?
That is amazing. People will believe in the love between maybe like a male animated cat and a female animated cat. But as soon as you've got like a real man and a real man who are in love, they're like, that's a step too far.
Who can believe it?
What an outlandish concept. So how important is it for you that an actor playing a gay role is gay themselves?
Great question. I think if you'd asked me maybe 2008, my answer would have been not very.
Okay.
Because I didn't see people from our community in those roles. So to me, it didn't seem to matter.
Right.
But I had a very liberal family. I went to a performing arts school, and I was actually fortunate enough to be within a community in general that really didn't actually care.
Right.
I guess because I'm from such a working class community, it goes one of two ways in a working class community. Either everyone is incredibly accepting or nobody is accepting at all.
Right.
I was in the former.
Good.
However, these days when I'm watching media and I'm consuming it, I'm choosing to do so quite consciously. I essentially refuse to watch anything that is primarily about a straight couple. Don't care, don't want to see it.
Okay.
But I also find it difficult sometimes to watch straight actors play LGBTQIA plus roles, primarily because we are so underrepresented.
Underrepresented in what sense? In the workforce?
In the workforce.
Okay.
So I just think until I see like loads of gay and lesbian actors or trans actors in these roles, I don't want to watch straight people have them and get awarded for them.
Yeah, I do largely agree with you. I'm not so bothered personally. I think if a role is played with sensitivity and respect, and that actor does support LGBT rights,
true.
They don't need to be queer themselves. They don't need to be a member of the community, but they should be an ally because they are literally profiting off our stories.
Exactly.
However, I definitely agree with your point around we should have more LGBTQIA plus people working in the industry. because they're there behind the scenes.
Yeah, true.
So why can't you put them on the camera?
I think the point for me as well is I just see so often things acted badly by a straight person. Why can't it be acted badly by a gay person? or a trans person?
Why can't they be bad?
Exactly. In order for someone to even represent our community, they have to be to the highest standards.
Exceptionally good.
And then it's like, okay, well, they are the best and they can do it all.
But even then, those people will get accusations of being DEI hires. You know, they don't get the accolades they deserve, despite, as you say, they have to be the best of the best to get that seat in that room.
And then I think what ends up happening is they start to resent the fact that they're representing an entire community because, again, it's a lot of pressure. And I, as a gay man, cannot be the voice of every gay man in the entire world.
That's a relief.
I can try. Oh, we both made a fun joke at my expense. Oh, love you. Kind of. And so I don't think that like a bisexual person or a lesbian or trans person should have the weight of their words mean everything for the community, just because they happen to be that letter of the community, you know?
Yeah. To contrast with that point, I think when it comes to playing trans characters, we really should be giving those roles exclusively to trans and non-binary people, because it's damaging to have cis people playing trans roles.
Gosh, I do get that. I think the problem is there's so much nuance there, because when you are a trans individual, I think it must be fairly traumatic to actually reverse your gender back to your assigned at birth gender. That could probably have a lot of trauma. However, I mean, acting is acting, right? And I know that's the point that a lot of people make when they say straight people should be able to play any character.
Yeah.
Okay, well then so should LGBTQIA plus people.
Yeah.
You very rarely see a trans man play a cis man character or a trans woman play a cis woman character.
Yeah, you're right. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. There's a big conversation to be had on that topic, perhaps in a later episode. This week, we're talking about two films in particular.
Yep.
So shall we get stuck in?
Yep. Brokeback Mountain and Red, White and Royal Darling.
Not bad, because we just did that off the cuff.
Charlie and I decided on Brokeback Mountain because in the pantheon of LGBTQIA plus
cinema
and representation, it's almost the harbinger of what was to come.
Definitely.
It broke the floodgates.
Yes.
And it's a tricky one for me because I think that film is the reason why our representation has come on so far.
It really broke some boundaries down. And the fact it was so successful as well meant that people decided having a queer love story on the big screen isn't career suicide.
And is actually perhaps profitable and can garner you some accolades.
Indeed.
I just want to say I'm actually grateful for that film in the way that it, again, we said, pushed those boundaries. I think that actors tried their absolute best. It was written by a straight woman. I believe the screenwriters were a straight woman and a straight man, and it was directed by a straight man, and it was played by two straight men.
Yeah.
I ultimately think it was for the best for our community, for what it did, to have those big names, to have that big budget, to have that whole award season be about that film and why it should win versus all the other films.
Yep.
Not just because it was a queer story, but because it was a beautiful story.
Can I admit something?
Oh, please.
So as you said, this film was huge when it came out as being like the gay film.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first of its kind, really, of this level. I was 12 and becoming aware of who I was. Because everyone was talking about this film, I was so deeply in denial that I refused to watch it.
Yeah.
I refused to even entertain the notion that I'd be interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that denial meant I watched it for the first time yesterday.
I was mortified.
Crazy, right? And it's a real shame because that film could have been very impactful to me when I was younger.
It's a difficult one because I think that you as a gay man felt that, but I also think straight men felt the exact same thing. Yeah. And it was hard for them to go to the cinema and want to see it.
Yeah, definitely. I remember it being talked about, like mocked by the other kids in school, you know, especially like the scene in the tent. That was what they talked about the whole film, a 2-hour film, but the one scene that people would talk about, they'd reduce it to
that.
spit on a hand in a tent, which is really just a throwaway moment in the film.
Yeah.
It's such a shame.
So again, what this story actually did is it humanized gay men in a way that hadn't been done on such a large scale before. So its legacy is undeniable. I mean, we're still talking about it today, right?
I would venture that at that time, playing a gay role like this, even for a straight actor, was quite risky.
I really agree.
And I think we can be very thankful to Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal for taking that risk. They were both asked about, how they felt about taking this role. And Heath Ledger was like, I just hope I did it justice.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal was like, I see no problem with it. Like, it was an honor to sort of give this a go. And I hope people saw something in that. If people think I'm LGBT as a result of it, fine, I don't care.
Oh, I didn't realize he said that.
That's why they were the perfect two people to do it. Whereas other actors were asked and said no for various reasons. Some of the biggest names of the day: Leonardo DiCaprio,
right?
Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, all turned it down.
I'm shocked Brad Pitt turned it down. Seems right up his alley.
Mark Wahlberg was asked to do it, but he was shocked by how graphic and descriptive the film was, and was thankful when Ang Lee didn't return to him to ask if he wanted to be in it for the second time.
Oh my gosh, but he's done like some crazy scenes with women. That's, oh my gosh, these people.
Right.
But interestingly enough, he got into trouble a couple of years ago because he used the F slur in front of his 14-year-old daughter.
Really?
And she said, Dad, you can't use that word. It's like dehumanizing. And he went on a chat show to tell that story, basically to say, oh, isn't my daughter like really evolved and wonderful and she helped me become a better person? But why were you even saying that word?
Yeah, that is not a flex.
I know. So thankfully it wasn't him. This is what we say. If you're going to represent us in these roles, you have to see us as human. You can't be using F slurs. I can, you can't.
That's our word.
So actually, we're talking about these characters as though they are gay men. There's been much debate over the years about their sexuality.
Yeah.
Many people have stated that they're both bisexual.
They were married to women as well and have sex and children with them.
Yes. Well, what someone said was that Jack Twist is bisexual leaning on the gay side. Ines Del Mar is bisexual leaning on the straight side.
Yeah.
I think that's a very fair assessment to make.
Yeah.
Whether or not I think it's the right one doesn't really even matter.
I think trying to attribute our sort of modern day descriptors for their sexualities to like these characters from the 1960s and 70s it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter, I think.
That's true, because back then you could only be one thing. I don't even think you could say you were bisexual. You were either a deviant or normal. That's basically what their labels were.
Yeah. And we're deviants.
Well, you are. Because I'm virginal.
Sure, Jan. As you say, their sexuality isn't explicit, but the love story between them is real. It's two men who fall in love with each other unexpectedly. Yeah. The question I have for you is, how convincing do you think the portrayal was of that sexuality, whatever it was?
It's a thorny one, that, because I think their portrayal of the characters was extremely accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm not from
Wyoming.
Aside from the sex scenes, I do think their portrayal of man-on-man romance was accurate. A lot of underlying repressed homosexuality, toxic masculinity stuff going on.
Yeah.
We weren't even talking about toxic masculinity back then.
No.
But the way that their love seems to swing so violently between hate and violence.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict between them.
Exactly. And then back to love and tenderness. I have seen that. I have seen that happen with men that have not had the fortunate acceptance that I have.
Yeah. I mean, the story is set in a world where it's so masculine that any deviation from just like cut and dry masculinity is like basically a death sentence. It is implied extremely strongly that, spoiler alert, one of the characters is killed for his homosexuality. Both characters are very conflicted. They are obviously feeling these emotions for another man, but at the same time living the kind of typical lifestyle, checking off all those milestones. They've got married, they've got children, they're running households, and they're the men of the house. I think both actors have done a tremendous job at portraying the conflict that anyone at that time would feel in this situation.
Were they feeling homosexual feelings? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think Heath Ledger in particular did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive to see a character not say a freaking thing and actually know what it is they're thinking and feeling. There was a lot of show don't tell with his character.
Yeah.
Whereas with Jack Twist's character, what I find interesting, and we'll talk about his idealism and the way that people talk about him in the film, because he's spoken of as if he's some fantastical creature.
Mhm.
And that's not what we saw.
No, we see kind of a bit of a downtrodden loser in some senses.
We see someone trying to be happy. And for some reason, that's regarded as fantasy. So with Jack, we just were presented with a lot of why he is the way he is, what it is he's attempting to do, how he's bucking expectations, not just with his sexuality. In fact, he's trying to hide his sexuality by doing these sort of frivolous frolics with the bulls and the rodeoing. So I agree. They just did such a good job of showing that inner turmoil, that conflict, but also how these two people would have actually moved through the world at that time.
Yeah, I believed it. I was on board with that love story and how it played out. And I felt it was likely heading in a direction that was not so happy. I thought that was the only way it could possibly end up, actually. As I said, first time watching it, so I didn't know how it ended. Partway through, I was like, don't think they're destined for a happy ending.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
When it comes to the physical scenes of intimacy, how do you think that went down?
I think that they may have shot this film chronologically. And because of that, there was some chemistry that wasn't feeding through to me in the very beginning scenes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But then as it got further on,
it was undeniable.
And I just thought to myself, is that incredibly good acting? And partly I think, yes, it is. But I do think the very first intimate scenes were not great.
A little uncomfortable to watch, actually.
It was like watching two people who genuinely are not attracted to each other try to pretend they are.
Okay.
And they didn't know where to put their hands. They were so tentative in a way that didn't feel like they truly wanted to do this.
Yes, I agree.
But then clearly they got over it by the end, in my opinion. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Some of the earlier scenes of intimacy, I was a bit taken aback by the kind of animalistic nature of it. They over-egged it to kind of make it seem believable.
Yes.
And I was a bit like, I didn't really see that. Later on, when their relationship has kind of calmed down a bit, they showed more tenderness. But that was really sweet and that felt much more real.
I agree. Well, I think we can agree that there was some really good progression on the intimacy aspects of these characters. But do you think they were well written?
Yes.
Yeah, same. I'm like, should I even ask this question?
There's a reason this film was so well received, because the characters are so engaging and there's a lot of growth between them. I think the Heath Ledger's character is intrinsically good, but has this conflict throughout his entire life. I loved the ending for him, actually. It showed he had a reason to live on in something that he had neglected the whole time, which was his family.
You hit the nail on the head when you said that the characters all seemed quite realistic and fleshed out, even the side characters.
Yes, I really felt for them.
Yes.
Something we talked about is one unfortunate thing about this film. These two characters are grappling with their feelings for another man and they know it's not right or whatever. They end up hurting so many people along the way. Mostly women. They
actually hurt everyone along the way. It's crazy to see. I think it's a good lesson in realizing that if you are not being true to yourself or the people around you, yes, you can have moments of joy. You can't be content. And that's what it was. It was a real rotting of the love that maybe they truly did have for them, but this denial of the self ended up denying someone else of a better life.
Yeah. I think the toxic masculinity we've got in there, the absolute rigidity of the patriarchy being upheld. I mean, of course, it's 1960s rural America. It's going to be patriarchal.
It's literally the patriarchy.
Yeah. And you could see how it ruins these two men's lives to some extent and all the women's lives as well. It just ruined everyone's life. What a ridiculous system.
Yeah, and it's one thing that I found interesting was the sort of parallels between each husband and wife. So you had Innes, who was reluctant to ever speak, never wanted to say a thing. And then you had his wife, Alma Sr., who knew the truth and tried desperately to deny it to herself until she couldn't anymore.
Yeah, heartbreaking to watch.
Then with Jack and Lorraine, Jack was a showboat and he was denying aspects of himself that weren't just about being a homosexual man. It was about wanting to be the main character. He wanted to be at the forefront of things. So did Lorene.
Yes.
Their sort of war in their relationship was the fact that Lorene was the man.
Yes, very true.
And as a consequence, his father-in-law had no respect for him.
Mhm.
And it appears his son didn't either.
Yeah.
And so they were all miserable too.
Yes. Living in a nice house, though.
Oh, it wasn't. Actually, it was nice. I want that house.
Yeah. Go back to the 70s and live in that.
That house that probably cost $15,000.
True. So overall, we think the actors did a great job.
All of them, actually.
Shall we talk about the impact of the film?
Yes.
The film was nominated for an Oscar Best Picture.
And I know exactly who it lost out to.
Who?
Crash.
I've never seen that.
It's a real tearjerker in the actual realistic sense of the word. It's
Not
like,
the American Dad sense of the word.
what do they say?
When Roger is tearjerker, the Bond villain.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. It's a film that hits you so hard on the head with its message that you actually feel clever for deciphering it.
Right.
But it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And it's all about like how you need to get over your prejudice and people are people and that we're all fighting our own wars.
Well, that's a good message to share in 2005.
Absolutely. It was not well acted.
Okay.
And ultimately it sent a lot of very confusing messages. But let's get back to Brokeback Mountain.
I saw it written down that Brokeback Mountain was one of the most egregious snubs in Oscar history.
Uh-huh.
However, its impact lived on beyond one little statuette.
The legacy of today.
As you referred to at the beginning, it opened the floodgates on so many queer films to be made. I think quite a few films like Milk and Transamerica, I Love You, Philip Morris, were attributed to the fact that Brokeback Mountain was made, released, and was successful. That meant that these other films got the green light. They could be made.
You're right. The floodgates definitely opened. And I don't think we'd be speaking about the next film we're going to discuss, Red, White and Royal Blue, had the legacy and impact of Brokeback Mountain not been so huge.
Mm-hmm.
Before we move on to the next film, do you think that Brokeback Mountain would have been as successful had it been played by two out gay actors?
I would venture no.
I would almost bet my life on no.
Which almost seems hypocritical because it's the antithesis of what we're saying. There should be more queer actors out there acting in queer films. But I guess at that time, the world just wasn't ready.
The world wasn't even ready for gay actors. So how could it have been ready for gay actors playing gay characters in a film about 1960s Western?
Yeah. Once again, we are grateful for what that film achieved.
So grateful.
But we have to keep pushing forwards for better representation.
For all minorities.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to Red, White and Royal Blue.
Quite a contrast to Brokeback Mountain.
But it has some interesting parallels, which we'll get into toward the end.
Yes. From 2023.
I can't believe it's only 2 years old.
Also, watched it for the first time today.
Hours ago. And I didn't even realise I was talking the whole way through it. Sorry.
That's fine. I could just about hear them. The film was an adaptation of a book.
Oh, you've read that book?
I have.
I have not.
I think I read it on holiday. A perfect kind of read for sitting by the pool. It's not a super deep novel or super deep film.
No, it wasn't.
But it was a lot of fun to watch.
It was, yes.
The film was much better than I expected.
Oh, okay.
And the two actors in it did a good job.
We have to make the point that Nicholas Galitzine has confirmed that he is straight. Taylor Zakhar Perez hasn't.
That in itself is an interesting discussion. Do actors owe us disclosure of their sexuality?
Oh, you're asking?
Well, it's a rhetorical question, but you can... you have an answer, I think.
Well, it's nuanced. And how could we ever be nuanced on the internet? I think when you're putting yourself out there for public consumption and you're profiting off of other people's attention, you're asking for their eyes to be on you.
Yeah.
I do think you owe us certain things.
Okay.
Whether or not that should be someone's disclosure of their sexuality, I am not going to say if it's yes or no.
Yeah.
I do believe that if you're playing a queer role, you should disclose if you are queer or not. I think it's important information for people to know.
Okay. That's a bit of a hot take.
Well, I'm taking it.
I don't think people need come out if they're not ready to.
Uh-huh.
I just think if they are portraying queer characters in their films, they should at the very least be allies.
I guess that's a more generous way to be.
People feel they really need to know actors' private lives. Actually, Zakhar Perez himself has spoken on this.
Okay.
And he doesn't think that people are owed this knowledge about actors.
I mean, I agree. Look, if you are going to keep your private life private, absolutely go for it. I fully stand by that. I agree with it. I just think that if you are taking on something as important as trying to represent that community
and tell their stories
yeah, I don't think it's fair that you're like, but I don't get to tell you, because a straight person can use that to almost gain brownie points by insinuating themselves into the community and they're not actually part of it. I think that's what it is for me. I don't want straight people to get patted on the back
fair.
for their proximity to the community if they're not truly part of it.
Yeah. But I think, there's space for allies in the LGBTQI plus community.
I mean, I've got a lot of space for allies.
But I'm talking about real allyship. I want people who are posting about trans issues. I want them to be like outspokenly anti-Trump and anti-reform, that kind of stuff.
For sure.
Don't be shy about it. Like, if you are, for all intents and purposes, a white straight man, then be on our side at the very least. And then maybe it's okay for you to tell my story for me.
Well, Taylor's not white. So if you're referring to Nicholas, then actually we do have an ally in him. He'll play a gay role any day.
True, he has a few times before, right?
And successfully, I would say. He's gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful man. But I do think there's something, he has like this vulnerable look that allows him to play these roles.
Wonder how it will progress as he ages.
Oh, true. Well, he's about to play He-Man. His pronouns are He-Man. What?
Famously a gay character.
Is he?
No. He's always shipped with Skeletor.
Oh my gosh. Well, I would love to see that. I'm sure She-Ra would as well.
In this film, the characters are more explicit in what their sexualities are.
Yeah.
We've got one who's bisexual, one who is gay.
No bi erasure here, baby.
How convinced were you by their portrayals of a gay and bisexual man?
I have to say, I don't think the acting was top tier in this film. I do think they came across really well. There wasn't so much stereotyping. There was a little bit in the bedroom, I will say. But in general, I thought they successfully pulled it off.
I agree with you. I think their chemistry was great.
Yes.
So I definitely believed that they loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
However, really, if you look at the characters individually, they didn't really show any kind of homosexual tendencies aside from their attraction to this other man.
Yes.
They weren't, I'm not saying they should have been, but they weren't camp. They weren't showing affectations. They weren't doing anything stereotypically gay. Like, we even see the prince kind of like volleying a football around as if he's like really sporty. And I was like, come on, I can't do that.
Some gay men play football.
I know they do. But they really were just like two straight bros, really.
Yeah, it was very much that.
Especially Zachar Perez, he is built like he is like an athlete. Which, again, some people are like that and
yeah,
are
some
gay.
gay men are attractive.
What?
You would know all about that, wouldn't you?
So that's just the price we have to pay, I think, for a film like this.
I'll pay the price.
I did enjoy any scene they were topless. So
Me too.
I'm just human.
Well, doesn't that bring us on to what did we think of the intimate scenes?
Yeah.
I didn't think they were intimate at all. The whole time I really was there like they are acting at this.
Yes, I agree.
It was weird for me. Because I would love to see it.
Wouldn't we all?
But I didn't. I don't know. It almost didn't add anything. And quite often we just got these crazy cutaways. So it was only implied that they were doing stuff.
They showed a lot more in that one scene.
There's one scene, yeah.
But yeah, a few of the scenes before that, I was a bit unconvinced. Like where they're like ripping each other's clothes off to give each other blowjobs. And it sounds like a fun time. But why did Prince Henry keep his bow tie on?
Yeah, true.
To give someone a blowjob. That's
not
sexy.
Free that throat, baby.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. This is a safer work podcast.
Okay, if you say so.
I think it depends on how much experience you think those characters have had in the past in terms of their previous relationships. Like the character of Alex does mention having had sex before twice.
Oh, okay.
And then Henry's character mentions going to a boarding school, so he knows what he's doing.
An English boarding school.
Yeah, and I was like, what is that supposed to mean?
I said the exact same thing. I just thought, well, you're the Prince of England, apparently, not of Britain. Prince of England, for some reason.
Yeah, Scotland erasure.
And I was just like, why are you sleeping with all your friends at boarding school? Surely, are they not all going to out you? Well, maybe not, because they were also, I don't know. It was weird to me. It was weird.
Yeah, and it turns out he was the bottom as well. So he basically just said, oh yeah, I sat on all their dicks.
That's the thing I found quite weird when it came to stereotypes. It was like the simpering Englishman had to be the bottom.
With the brash American taking charge.
Yeah, the brash Latin American taking charge. And I just thought, what? That is so reductive.
True. But, you know, when they give each other googly eyes and they're holding hands, I ate that up.
Yeah, I bought into it. I think they were cute together. It seems like they had a good time recording with each other, but then maybe they were better actors in real life than they were on screen. Ooh. Who knows? In general, sexual intimacy, not great. Romantic intimacy, I'm on board.
Good job, guys.
Not a good blowjob.
Final question on that.
Aye.
Do you think the characters were well written?
No.
Oh,
I don't.
Do you blame Casey McQuiston for that, or...?
No, I think the character of Alex was well written, and I liked the sort of relationship he seemed to have with his parents and how it would work in the world of politics. I just thought the character of Henry was so hammy.
Yeah.
And it may have rung true to life, but the way it was all delivered, it was very martyrdom.
I was just reminded most of the time that this book was written by an American person. It was almost a bit stereotypical of how the British are, and it's played for laughs. It's a fun film. Like, I'm not gonna take it too seriously, but yeah, I agree with you. The character of Henry, you know, they alluded to him having some trauma. He had some moments where he like showed some real deep emotion, and I was on board with that. It was really beautifully acted, I think, actually, at those moments.
Yeah. And
I did enjoy the contrast between America and the UK throughout the film.
I guess so, yeah.
But it was exaggerated.
Yes.
So, yeah, was it well written? If you want realism, no.
I guess the characters weren't well written, but that's because the film wasn't particularly well written.
Yeah, I think the film suffered a little bit for being an adaptation of a book, and there was a lot of dialogue that they didn't have time for.
No.
So some of the relationship progression didn't quite ring accurate or true or believable.
Well, you were saying there were some characters they didn't even have time for either.
Yeah.
So Princess B featured far more prominently.
Yeah, and Henry's best friend as well.
Oh, okay. But then didn't in the film. And in fact, we saw a lot of Alex get counsel from other characters. He was the protagonist of the whole film.
Yeah.
We actually didn't see much growth from Henry's side.
True.
We didn't see him interact with his sister. So who knows what's on that cutting room floor. When
it comes to representation, do you reckon it's good for the gays and the bis of 2025?
I guess no. I want to say yes. I think that were Zachar Perez more forthcoming with his own sexuality, which he does not have to be, it might have proved more important representation-wise, but to have Nicholas Galitzine again play a gay British role was just a bit like, okay, well, he is so handsome and he is going to be launched into the upper echelons of stardom. Does he really need another gay role to do it? I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
Well, could you give me some of your thoughts then?
I thought as soon as the film started that it felt like something from 2007.
Yes.
You know, it felt almost a bit dated because of the choices of the music and the soundtrack and so on. It feels like we were kind of playing catch up a little bit. We got contrived romance films like this by the bucket load in the 2000s, but with straight relationships.
Yeah.
So now we're finally kind of catching up with a few MLM ones.
Oh my gosh, you know, have you ever seen the film Wild Child?
No.
Oh my gosh, and you have to, because I always quote it. It's not my vomit, I was just lying in it.
That would explain a lot.
But it's almost like an exact parallel of that. Brash American gets with debonair Englishman. Yeah, you're right. And we get it like 20 years later.
So I think for that reason, it's not bad representation, but I think we can push the envelope a little further at this time.
It's not bad representation, but it's not accurate representation.
Well, accurate in what sense? Like the Prince of England? The Prince of Britain?
I don't mean in terms of who is in the film. I mean in terms of how our sexuality is portrayed in the film.
Yes.
Thank you.
This movie was very successful. The two stars are being launched into superstardom, and that's great.
Yeah, they're stars now, for sure.
Again, it shows that playing queer roles is not a death sentence to your career. So hopefully more and more people will be given that opportunity, and hopefully more of them will be actually outwardly, openly LGBTQ+.
Yeah. I would like to see more of it. I mean, we did a little bit of research because we thought about who could be cast in these roles, both for Brokeback Mountain and Red, White and Royal Blue. The issue that we had is that there just doesn't seem to be that many out gay or even really queer actors. It feels like there are.
Yes.
But there aren't.
Yeah, which was so surprising to me.
Because we've got like 5.
Basically. And you can't put them in everything.
No, you can't.
I mean, Russell Tovey's done all the movies already.
And Russell Tovey couldn't have played this role.
No, he's too old.
That's not a shade. That's just the tea. The strongest parallel that I can draw between these two films is that denying yourself happiness in order to deny who you are to yourself and other people ultimately leads to misery for everyone. You may think that you are making a sacrifice that helps other people move forward, but your own resentment at who you are will manifest in ways you can't control, and it will affect everything.
I think you just nailed the queer experience, really.
True.
That's what drives people to come out, because they realise that they're damaging themselves to a unacceptable extent. And that's the thing, you don't realise it when you're young, but it can have impacts on other people. I can relate to that. You know, when I was young and struggling to come out, I ended up in a depression and my parents were beside themselves, worried about me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll discuss that off camera. I think for me, I had denied who I was a lot, but it wasn't even really about my sexuality. It was about a whole host of other things.
Yeah.
Sexuality is only a part of who I am, and I'd never had to hide that.
Yeah.
So it's never an issue for me. It's other aspects of who I am that I find challenging. And we see it happen in Brokeback Mountain. Those poor women are miserable.
Yes. Although I think all women were probably miserable in Wyoming in the 70s.
True. And actually, when we look at the character of Jack Twist, he wants happiness. He suggests ways in which people can be happy. He tries to find it.
Yeah.
Because he's so optimistic, people think he's a complete fantasist.
Yeah.
But all he's saying is, why not want better for ourselves? It will allow everyone to want better. I think that's achieved in Red, White and Royal Blue. They choose to be true to themselves and are rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Because it was safe for them to do so.
I was going to say, one thing about that film is it's set in a bit of a utopic world.
Yes.
It's like it's an alternative version of our world. You've got a president in the White House.
A woman president.
A female president who is saying, this is for the transgender people in Mississippi. Said no presidential candidate ever.
And then a king that can somehow be swayed by people just turning up outside of the palace.
Yeah. But hey, it's a romance film. It's a quick watch on a Tuesday evening. It's not that deep.
True.
I don't resent that it exists. They did a good job.
In conclusion, for me, I guess my high level take is that until everyone can play all characters, we should have far more representation for LGBTQIA plus people playing LGBTQIA plus characters. We're not at that utopia yet where anyone can be anyone.
You're right. It's hard to disagree with that point. I think I'm a little bit more generous. As we said, Brokeback Mountain is two straight actors playing queer roles, and it created a huge ripple effect and had so much benefit for LGBTQI representation.
Yeah, it can't be understated. You have a point there too.
So,
it's a big grey area, but it's a big but too. What did you think of those views?
What did you make of those takes?
Let us know down below.
Like and subscribe, babies.
Do it, sister. Because new episodes drop every single Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts, but you can watch us here on YouTube on Fridays.
And check out our YouTube channel on Sundays for our latest review of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 7. But until then,
have a good one.
But just one.
Bye, Mary.